Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And today we have to talk about what's about to happen here shortly as interest rates from the Federal Reserve go down and mortgage rates also could come down, the mortgage interest rate. Therefore, we could have a boom. I want you to be prepared. Why you don't want to buy a house unless ... You might want to pay attention to this, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere, and welcome. Stop Struggling Now gear. Check. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it. All right, welcome back. And thank you so much again for being here. Please share the videos because you never know who's out here gonna try to buy a home. Hazardous to your health. Over 30 years. I have a lot to show you and a lot for you to think about because home prices are not cheap these days and you are on the hook renting from the banks, renting from the mortgage companies because you decided to buy a home. Pay attention, please. All right, let's start it off though when we go to the YouTube channel podcast page. Why? Because I always like to show a few members of the channel who have joined the channel, not just subscribers, but who have joined financially. And I want to thank these and many, many more who financially help the channel so I can present things to you every week, every other day. We have live streams Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And speaking of live streams, members of the channel on Wednesday night, the Wealthy Wednesday night live stream, they are the only ones that can be in the chat room. Members of the channel, they're the only ones that can actually join me on any live stream because under the community tab, they receive special messages such as the link to get into the live stream with me. And if you're shy, you can always cut off your camera and just talk. Also, they receive 1 or 2 videos per month specifically for them. They also receive special messages on the community tab. And that is it, plus a few other perks. They even have special emojis that many of them don't even realize they have. But let's get into also what I've been working on is our Instagram. We got up to an all-time high of 929 followers. Instagram, as usual, dropped off some more. So I request humbly that you go over to Instagram.com/Stop Struggling Now or just search for Stop Struggling Now and we will come up. You just never know what's going to be posted. Let's get into why you don't want to buy a home unless. Let's start off with the basics because a lot of people, they do not understand what's at play. Age, income, credit. It matters. Your debt to income ratio with your mortgage included. I'm sure there's some of you that can make comments down below who applied for a mortgage and then was told, hey, you have credit card debt. In order to get your debt to income ratio down, please pay off that $2,000 credit card in full. Then we can get you a loan. There's a reason for this because the higher your debt to income ratio, including your loan, the higher the risk of default. And that's why if you get up to 36% or more, oftentimes they put in other stipulations or raise the interest rate on you. But here you go. What is a good debt to income ratio? Well, you know I love Investopedia. I'll have the link down below so you guys can go read the whole thing. As a general guideline, 43% is the highest DTI, that's debt to income ratio, a borrower can have and still get qualified for a mortgage. Ideally, lenders prefer a debt to income ratio lower than 36%. I'm going to stop you right now. Do not think about doing 36% because you love the house. Do not do it. Here you go, the second part. with no more than 28 to 35% of that debt going towards servicing a mortgage. All right, that includes all your debt now plus your mortgage payment should be somewhere between 28% to 35%. But I'm going to tell you the real deal. The real deal that they're not talking about is, we talked about this on live streams, please be as close to 28% or less. And I'm going to show you why here shortly, because a lot of people get caught up. Imagine 30% of your income gone just for you to live. Think about that. Some people think that's no big deal. It's a big deal. So if you don't want to default, keep it around 28% or less. That's all I'm going to suggest. They push the envelope out here now to get more people a loan. But remember, the banks are not your friend. They get to take that piece of paper that you put down, let's just say 20%. And then what ends up happening after you put down that 20%? What do you think happens? The average price that I'm going to show you on a home is $420,000 to $440,000. You put down $80,000 just to round down, right? That's 20% down. You have a mortgage on it. Now your mortgage, you have an interest rate, but what people keep forgetting is property tax, insurance, HOA, and the cost of upkeep such as lawn care if you don't do it yourself. So just keep these things in mind. This is no joke, because this may be the last time you're going to be able to buy a house, because after this next little boost, because of tax cut, tax breaks, and Federal Reserve reducing the interest rates, that means this will put home prices out of reach for people in 2 to 3 years later after the next boom comes. So just wanted to let you guys know about that. And again, I'll have a link down below so you can see this, and I'll keep going. The maximum DTI ratio varies from lender to lender. However, the lower the debt to income ratio, the better the chances that the borrower will be approved or at least considered for the credit application. That's all I'm going to talk about here, because I'm going to get to the average price that I just mentioned, $420,000 to $440,000. And I believe it was at a higher number earlier this year. I believe it was at $443,000, but we're not going to talk about $20,000 to $23,000, because once we're in the $400,000 range, that's when things get a little dicey, because you have to understand, since you have to have a 30% or less is what I recommend if you're buying a home, because again, 30% of your money gone. What if this is a two-person household that contributes to that 30% and one person loses their job? That 30% is no longer 30%. It could be 60%, which now is going to put you at risk of default. All right. So now let's just go look at an example, because right now, today, you can probably get an interest rate of 6.49% at $450,000 for everybody on podcast. You put down 20%. That's very nice. 90 grand. Then you have a term of 30 years starting in November 2024. Property taxes at 1.2%. That's very reasonable. Then you have home insurance for our way of looking at it today. This says $1,500 a year. I want to know how many people pay home insurance now with $1,500 annually. I know a lot of people that pay something like $1,800, $1,500, $1,400, $1,200 a month, not a year. So I don't know where this $1,500 is, but for my purposes, I'm going to keep it there. But what I want you guys to know is your insurance payment is going to go up. There's no way around it, because it's manufactured. They're not accepting everybody for home insurance. So therefore, the remaining customers that they do keep, to cover everybody, their insurance has to go up. Their premium has to go up, right? You guys understand this. You have less people in the pool to cover more money. So that's why people are getting these ridiculous bills like $1,500 per month for their home insurance. But we're going to keep it simple because that's not the point of this exercise. PMI insurance is not down because you put down 20%. If you put down 10% or less, then there's going to add their private mortgage insurance in case you default until it gets under 80% of the value of the home. Who's that protect? The banker, the lender. All right. Now, other costs they have is $4,000 a year. So that's all reasonable because, you're going to have some lawn care. You're going to probably have something to fix up in the house. You damn sure better be servicing your heater and AC units and things like that once a year. Check out your vents and things like that. You got to pay. If you have a fireplace, a chimney sweep, I would suggest they come by as well to check it out, make sure everything's fine. There's several things that you have to spend money on when you own a home. Now, after we get to the $450,000, you guys can see up here at the top, $2,273.08 per month. Some of you are going to go, okay, you can see already on screen. Mortgage payment is that. That does not include the property tax, which is going to be added in. That does not include the home insurance monthly payment. That does not include other costs of $333 per month. So total out of pocket is now $3,181.41. Almost $1,000 more. And in a lot of people's instances, that home insurance is $1,000 per month or $700 per month, not $125. So a lot of people could go from a $2,200 and $2,273 mortgage plus $700 plus $800 plus $1,200 plus $1,500. That's why you have to check before you buy a home. ... Unless you know what your home insurance is going to be. Don't risk it. Do not buy a home and then find out. Like, I have friends that are selling a home right now, and the people that want to come buy their home, they call up the insurance company and find out it's $1,500 per month for their insurance. They're like, I can't buy the house. Clearly, can you imagine? $2,273 plus $1,500 makes your payment $3,800. And we haven't even started yet. You still have to pay water, sewer, and garbage. You still have to pay. I mean, you haven't even started yet, ladies and gentlemen. All right. And if there's anything that goes wrong and your house is over 15 years old, stuff is going to start going wrong that you're going to need to repair. Just how it works. If you haven't seen my series on building and home materials that I made about a month ago, I'll put a link down below in the description box. Part 1, 2, 3, and 4, I believe it was. That'll help you out as well, because I don't want you guys caught on the wrong side of what you should be doing. So hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying by this graphic right here. Money doesn't lie. And also remember, you have 15-year or 30-year loans generally. So with today's environment, the way that manufacturing is done around the world, it's a global economy. And what a lot of you don't realize is America is declining empire. That is another video I'll be dropping tomorrow, so you can see it, or later today. Either way, don't miss that one either, because you are going to start going, oh, now I see where he's going with this. If all of a sudden they're laying off, like what's happening right now, a couple of thousand people are being laid off, that could be you. And you have a mortgage and you decided to do something like 40% debt to income ratio, 36% debt to income ratio. And now all of a sudden the household can't support that, and after you've lived there 5, 10, 12 years and put down all that money, there's something I want to show you. Speaking of all that money, look at this. Here's the bottom line. You bought a house for $450,000. After you pay for something for 30 years, you spent over $1,145,308. Can you believe that? You guys on podcasts, can you believe that? That's right. You heard me correctly. That's at a 6.49%. Now I know what some of you are thinking right now. You're going, hey, Eric, come on now. What happens when the interest rate goes down to 3.49? That's the, it can possibly go down there. We'll wait till it gets down to 3.9. Well, by that time, the house will be worth more money if you're going to buy it. But we'll just go with the calculation and you'll see what's going to happen with that. Here it is, $450,000, 30-year note. If you paid the 360 payments 30 years later and you're happy, patting yourself on the back, 3.49%, guess what? It's still double, ladies and gentlemen, with interest and everything. And guess what's going to happen over 30 years? Your property tax is going up. Your home insurance is going to go up. The other cost to maintain is going to go up. That'd be just like doing something in 1994. 30 years later, it's 2024. Clearly, things cost way less from 1994 than they do now. So this is another problem. This $908,000 is not $908,000. Try about another $40,000 to $50,000 more. So you still are going to pay double. If you were the bank, wouldn't you love to sell as many homes as you could? Especially since it's a piece of paper, which is a derivative. If you don't know what those are, I'll make another video about derivatives. But I want to show you the other part to all of this is that you cannot escape. Once you own the house, you have to resell it. But I want to show you the amortization table because this might make you a little sick. Look at your first year of interest payments, $12,000 of your payments the first year goes towards interest. The principal only gets $7,000 at the 3.49%. So look at this interest. In 5 years, you have paid over $60,000 in interest only. See, this is what people do not look at when they're buying homes. They just go, just buy homes. It's the norm. It's not really the norm. What if, and again, I tell everybody, what if you wouldn't have spent this money? And some of you would say, hey, Eric, I'm going to have to spend the money because what happened? I have to rent. Yes, this is very true. But at the same time, you could rent at whatever you want to rent at. And you also, even though you're putting money away, I consider the interest that you're paying is like throwing money out the window. That's the way I look at it. Let me know what you guys believe down below. But just think if you could have spent that money to put it towards your retirement, put it into a stock market, put it into something that you can get a return of 10, 12, 15, 18, 20%. If you've missed our stock market videos for dividend investing, I suggest you get to those real quick because we're talking about things that could give you a distribution rate of over 30, 40, 50%. That's right, from stock market in your brokerage account. That is high risk, high reward. But if you want something a little lower risk, then what's wrong with 15% or 14%? A lot of people would love to get that annually every year, right? I hope you're one of them. So let me know what you guys think down below. Again, do not buy a home. You have to understand what you're getting yourself into. A lot of older homes are going to be up for sale. And I suggest you guys think about it very clearly. And you have to suggest to yourself and your loved ones, is this going to be sustainable for a 15-year to 30-year period? You just don't know these days. So be very careful. You might want flexibility. And with all that said, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And I know it's hard out here. And this is the reason it's hard out here. People have credit cards that's maxed out, all-time record highs. And now you're going to go try and buy a home because you're going to find out it's a craze going on when the lenders loosen up and people are able to buy and home prices start escalating. And then you have the fear of loss because how many people can afford a $600,000 house? Well, you better be making over $150,000 to $200,000 annually. And then once you get into the $1 million range, well, that's a whole nother ball game. Has to be into the 250s. at this current interest rate, and even when it drops to half of what it is now, which we're hoping that happens, right? And with all that said, ladies and gentlemen, again, please make your comments down below. I want to hear about this subject matter because a lot of people, as you know, we buy homes, people sell homes, but a lot of people look at it as an asset. It's mildly an asset only if the market moves quickly. If I buy today and all of a sudden, which is what happened in the early 2000s, you buy today for, let's say it was 300,000, it was crazy. 2 months, 3 months later, the house was 330 because they were giving loans to everybody. And then 2 or 3 months later after that, it was 350, 360. Then 3, 4 months after that, it was, oh, it's 400 for everybody now because people could just buy and they would overpay and just keep going because they were like, we might as well get in. And you know how that ended because a lot of people's debt to income ratio was not under 30%. Just saying. So there's a lot to think about. Don't buy unless ... you're here. That's what you should be paying attention to. And with all that said, keep your head up, keep moving, and I'm out.